Guys, welcome to Sunday Signal, episode 5. It's been a minute, but we are going to jump right into what we're here for, and that is to look for opportunities in the market for this week. So let me go ahead, share my screen with you, get this on the road as far as that. Let me go ahead right here. Oh, man. All right, so right here, guys, we have opportunities in the market coming this week, and I'm going to show you, like, as far as my breakdown for Friday. I told you guys about Cisco as far as an opportunity on Cisco. That definitely did its thing on Friday. It did gap down, but push all the way back up. And then we did Mu on Micron on Friday, which we did 140%. I'm going to go over that as well, but also show you opportunities in the market for this week. So let me just go ahead and jump into recap as far as with Micron, what we did for Micron last week, as far as how we were able to get that 140%. Now, some people took more than 140%, but that's fine, right? What are we really talking about? Getting 140%, right? In one day. So Micron gapped down significantly. The whole market gapped down on Friday based on the news that came out with Trump. Not Friday, but on Thursday because of the news on Trump with Trump. So with that, market gap down significantly, came down and almost closed this gap right here, which will even signal to me more of a bullish sign than anything else, right? So right now, when it came down here, I saw where on Friday, on Thursday, I saw the same kind of setup on SPY and QQQ. They dropped down significantly as well. But one of the things that you have to pay attention is when you look left. You always want to look left to see what's going on. And right there, that there was consolidation there. So I told everyone, hey, we're looking for market to shift and go back to the upside, which it did. And because I saw that, I was looking for the same thing to happen with QQ, with Micron. So on Micron, on the 15 minute, I waited for the 15 minute to end, right? And then go down because this was a 15 minute, first 15 minute. And I said, okay, I'm looking for us to push back to the upside. We saw this rejection off of the support line right here. But I was like, yo, you know what? If we break above here, we could be bullish. But then when I went down to the smaller time frame, which is a 5 minute candle, I saw a perfect setup and I couldn't resist but to take that at that point because the simple fact that we were sitting on the 200, which is this is my yellow line. So we were sitting on the 200. For the 3 5 minutes, we was just consolidated right within this range. But I told everyone, I said, hey guys, because I'm looking for the market to bounce back to the upside, we're going to go in a trade, not waiting for it to break the 15, but we're going to wait for the break of this 5 minute candle right here. And I told them I want to see a support on the 200. So this candle opening up, test the 200 and then break, which that's exactly what happened. We had the opening, we come down, test support. Once we broke this 5, we was in the trade. So this trade lasted for about 15 minutes, I'll say, because we got out the trade even before 10 o'clock hit and we was able to take that 140% on that trade. Now there's people that still hold on to the trade and made a lot more, but what are we really talking about when you're talking about 140%? What are we really talking about here, right? So that was that first trade. We only took one trade on. I only took one trade on Thursday, but I also called out Palantir. Palantir was an amazing setup on Palantir, especially on the 5 minute. I was looking at the 15 minute on Palantir, and Palantir looked good on the 15 minute. I did not see a top on this 15 minute. I told everyone, I'm like, hey guys, we are dropping. Based on the day, I was looking for puts on Palantir, but because we gapped down, I don't like playing gaps. And I saw the break to the downside. So we start dropping on the 15 minute, but I didn't take the trade. Again, I saw all these stuff happening with QQQ and SPY, so I figure I'll wait on that. But then when I went down to the lower time frame as well, I saw a spike. And this is the confirmation that I was like, okay, guys, let's get ready for something, because while I was watching Palantir, I saw this quick spike within like the 1 minute time frame. I think if we go to a 1 minute time frame, you'll see that spike within that 1 minute, right? And that indicates that there's buyers, right? We sell off real quick because we needed to sell off, but that buy coming back up here tells me that we were going to be bullish. And once I saw this candle set up on the 5 minute time frame, that was a sweet setup right there. I mean, I'll say this: if you ever see a setup like this, that's a great setup for a reversal back to the upside. So there was people that actually took this trade once it break here. There was people that took this trade on Palantir, but I was also looking at Micron, so I took Micron instead of Palantir. So those were two trades. Now, on Thursday, one of the trades that I was really looking at, and that's why I said you have to be patient. And with us, when we're trading, it's not about rushing. It's not about FOMO. I'm not in for that. There's always going to be opportunities in the market. But one thing that I saw with Apple, Apple had a setup to the downside that I wanted to take on Apple, but things just didn't go the way I wanted to. Because when we opened up, I told everyone, hey, we're looking for the rejection off of the 50. So now this is the daily time frame, the daily candle. But if you look at the first 5 minute, right? The 5 minute came in and we popped up and we rejected the 50% line. This blue line is my 50% retracement. It rejected that and popped down, but that as well did it within a spike as far as a 1 minute time frame where it just happened so quick. I did not want to trade it. So look at the 1 minute time frame. This is the first 1 minute. When it opened up, we opened up and I'm like, all right, I'm going to wait for it, right? I'm going to wait for it to test the 50 and then reject, but it happened within seconds. So because it happened within seconds, I just didn't like the move. And a lot of times it's okay if you don't take a trade, and it's okay if you don't force a trade, right? So we didn't go in Apple trade, and I literally watched Apple fall because I told them, all right, Apple is going to go and test at that point the 200, which it went ahead, test the 200 and break below that and drop even more. And we saw it from, like, I want to say up here. So it had a $2 fall, I believe, or a dollar fall, a $2 fall from that, $3 actually, a $3 fall, which was good money as far as on a 0 DTE contract. But there's one thing with me: I don't chase. I don't go and just go ahead and jump in a trade. If you don't want to take the trade, don't force yourself to take the trade. And I wasn't gonna force myself to take that trade regardless, and I wasn't gonna chase it because it already happened so quick. Even though we could have took it down to the 200 and make money off of it. So that trade passed us. But on SPY, what I was telling you guys on SPY and QQQ for last week is, if you look left, right over here, you will see that there is a lot of consolidation before that push up as well. So because I saw that opening on Thursday, if you notice, we test that same range. We was within that same range. So once we broke above this level right here, I told everyone as well, hey, if SPY broke above this level, we're in for calls. And right here, there was people that jumped into the calls. I said, hey, watch out for the 200. But if we break above the 200, which we did, right, and came to this level. Now, I jumped off the call right before this candle right here. I jumped off the call. But what happened was, I told everyone, I said, hey, we have to close above this level for it to be bullish, because we kept on bouncing right here. And I looked at the 5 minute at the time, and I said, hey guys, we're not closing above our support line. This support line is becoming resistance. I said, for us to be bullish, we need to break above this line, close above it, and then continue up. Which right after I got off the call, there was already people in SPY calls, but right afterwards they were able to jump in, make 300% on those calls on the pop right here, right? So those were the trades that I literally call out on Friday. Now for this week, what are we looking at for this week? Now, a lot of things have great setups as far as for a bullish setup. For us to be really bullish on SPY, I need to see SPY above the 200. And right now, how we're looking, I was looking at certain things just now. There's some things that are already pushing up, but there's also certain things that drop. Now, you could look at different things to look at your trade. So for US 30 in Forex area is is the Dow, right? So you could look at this and indicate what happened. Now we broke to the downside, but we immediately popped back up for Dow, right? So coming in tomorrow, if we break back up to the upside, which on the 1 hour we're looking bullish to break back up to the upside, then at that point we can look for us to be bullish tomorrow as well. But that candle have to turn. Um, this candle have to be green to push back up. So we might have some consolidation. Not sure as far as that. But if you're looking at the other ones, so if you look at right now NQ is about to break that day high as far as on day, right? So we broke down just like we did on US 30 as far as Dow, right? So NQ broke down as well, but we didn't drop. We're more likely pushing back to the upside to break this day. If we break this day, we should be bullish going into tomorrow, which right now, if you're looking at certain stocks, they're showing that they're down. I was looking at Meta earlier. Meta was down $1 something, but by tomorrow morning, if we break back to the upside, those all those stocks are going to be green. So now they're going to be up $1, $2, $5, or whatever the case may be at that point. So we have to watch and see what's going to happen in the market. And we could tell based on looking at futures. Now for gold, you could look at different things, right? You could look at XAU, or you could look at MGC as far as that. For futures right now, we're just consolidating, so we might not have no big set of move on gold coming into tomorrow, new week, but at the same time we still can push up to the upside, right? So looking at those stuff, I like certain setups going into next week. So when you're talking about SPY right now, like I said, need to come over this 200 for me to be really bullish on it. The weekly looks good. So if it breaks above the weekly high, we could be bullish as well, right? And then you have QQQ, which has similar setup as far as QQQ, right? QQQ has a nice candle as well, looking for reversal, but we're still creating lower highs, right? So breaking back above that, we still can push up, but remember on that monthly time frame, we are bearish. So we could just push up for the second week, third week, we continue to the downtrend. So again, there's always opportunities in the market. You just have to pay attention, and then when you see the opportunity, you take it. Now we can push up with QQQ. We have not retested the 200 yet, okay? And because we haven't retested the 200, it could be a possibility for us this week, going into this week, to test the 200. And to be honest, we might gap up if the market pushes this going into the tomorrow morning. We might open up at 593. It's not impossible for us to open up 593 tomorrow morning, when all is said and done, being up $10 on the market going into tomorrow. So looking at those, there's a couple setups that I like that I'm going to show you guys that you could potentially look at for trades this week. CRM has two setups on it. You have a day trade setup on CRM, which a reversal back to the upside. As you can see, we have where we created lower lows right here, but we have a nice candle back to the upside. So a break above here on the daily, we could push, targeting, of course, the 188 or 1989 area, right? Cycle level is going to be that 190 range. So a break above that 187.58, you're looking at a 190, in a sense, 190 calls for Salesforce. Now, this is not financial advice. Go do your own due diligence. I meant to say that before, but I'm saying it anyway, right? These are potential trades that you could look at to potentially make some profit on. So this one will be a 590 if you break a 190 call. If it breaks above the day high, you have a reversal back to the upside. It is creating, if you look at right here, we're creating higher highs in a sense on the 4 hour, with higher lows being created right here from here, right? So we have higher lows being created from right here. Now, as far as a weekly setup, I like the weekly setup more than the daily setup. But for us to get into the weekly, we have to break the daily. So if we break the daily setup will head into our weekly setup. So if we break this high, our target will be weekly high at that point. You see my dotted line right here. So it will be weekly high at that point. If we break that weekly high, we have a nice setup as far as a tweezer bottom, right? So with this, we have an upside potential to come all the way back up. Now, what's all the way back up? First, you have to target certain places. I'm going to target the candle high, right? As far as this, or the candle body. That's what I'm going to target, followed by the peak of this right here. So I will target the peak of the W. The reason why I say W is because right now it's forming what's called a bullish divergence, right? So you have lower low being created right here, but then you have higher low that's being created on the oscillator right here, right? So you have lower low followed by higher low. So that's being created. So you have a bullish divergence setup. Now, for this to be confirmed, a bullish divergence, you have to have a break of the weekly candle. Once the weekly candle breaks, that's when you're going to get that bullish divergence confirmation. And with a bullish divergence confirmation, then you could look to take profit at these levels right here. Now, remember, you have to buy time on your contract. Okay, I trade options. I don't trade futures. I don't trade none of those. So with that, you have to make sure that you're taking time to buy your contract. So what that means is that if you're going in on a weekly time frame, you want to make sure that you're buying a contract that's at least 2 to 3 weeks out to give you some time, because what could happen is the first weekly candle could come in, it push up a little bit, but then we retrace and we bounce all week. And then next week, we could continue to push up. Now, I am looking for volatility in the market going into this week. The reason why we have FOMC on Wednesday, we have Trump talking about something about on Wednesday if Iran don't do certain things. Now, those are speculation, but that's going to shift the market one way or the other. Then you have CPI that's going to be on Friday. So those things, you have earnings is also going to be in play. This is earnings time. But now when we're talking about Salesforce, how do we factor in Salesforce? Because their earnings is not this week, but we also have dividends coming up this week. And if you know about dividends, people that want dividends, they would have to buy the stock or hold the stock till Thursday, right? If you look right here, they have to hold the stock till Thursday for them to get that dividends, which could be a major play or major move in it. Now, does it have to happen where the stock, or they have to buy it up, or the stock have to go up? No, because there's times where there's stocks that have dividends and that will continue to fall regardless. But this kind of plays into and give more confirmation or more reasons why you could take it to the upside, right? It gives you a little bit more confirmation, a little bit more validity. I'm Jamaican, so with certain things, I don't even want to go there, but it gives you a little bit more confirmation for you to actually get in the trade, right? So with this being having a bullish divergence setup, once we break that high, then we confirm the bullish divergence. Then you have dividends that's coming up for Thursday that could push it more, right? But then you also have on the daily that has a great setup that it could push more. A break above this shows that we're creating higher highs, right? If you look on hourly time frame, you could see that there's a consolidation within this range, but what we are seeing is higher highs being created, right? And higher lows as far as here being created. So in a sense, it confirms everything. Now, once we break for the weekly, now what are we looking for? We're looking at the monthly as well, which I get excited about, because now the day break into the week break into the month, and then the month can trigger into a 3 month situation as well. For this month or last month with Salesforce consolidated that whole month, right? So now we're looking at Salesforce we can consolidate this month as well, but we can also break back up to the highs. Now, if you notice my red line here, that's the target for the week. But when you're talking about how far can we go up, we can go all the way up to VWAP and still come back down, which VWAP is right here, right? We can go up to VWAP, reject off of VWAP, and come back down and still be bearish because we're still red candles. These are all red candles. So we could just come up to create a lower, another lower high and continue back down. Remember, we're only 1 week with 25 more days left in the month. So we still can push up and then continue back down by rejecting here or rejecting here, or reject that support, which support now becomes resistance. We could reject right off that line and then come all the way back down based on news, based on whatever events that's going on in the world. We can reject and fall all the way back down, right? And you have to look at that. So play what the chart gives you. Never try to force trades. Never try to think that something is going to happen this way and it have to happen in a couple days. When you're buying your contract based on, if you're taking a trade tomorrow on Salesforce, if it breaks the day and you're doing a day trade, then yes, you could get this week contract if you want. But now if you're looking at it on a weekly standpoint and you like the weekly play, then if you're basing it off of a weekly play, you need more time on your contract. Okay? Now, if you're basing that and then it breaks the monthly, then of course you need more time on the month as well. Okay, so with that, if it breaks the monthly up here, now we're talking about up to 214, 215 area, and then we continue up. But a break above here will put us at a cycle level. A break above the week will put us at a cycle level of 190. Then you're going to have, of course, once we break 190, you're going to have that $200 range that we have to get up to, which is going to be right at VWAP. VWAP is right at 200. So that could tell you cycle level wise already that, hey, good possibility that we can end up back at VWAP, which is at 200. So guys, I don't want to keep y'all long. Just want to give y'all information that if you like the information that you're getting here, if you learn something, if you make money by taking any of the trades that I gave you, please drop something in the comments and let me know. If you like to see more videos like this as well, just go ahead, share, like, do whatever you need as far as comment. Let me know what I'm missing or what you got as far as takeaway from this. But keep looking out. I do daily videos as well as far as daily recap where I will come on. I'll give you guys, also join us in our Discord. It's called Married to the Market. And with that, the link should also be in our bio. But also you could come and trade live with us if you want to as well. So we trade live every single day from 9:30 to 11. This is not a situation where you should be trading all day. This trading should be a form where, hey, you know what? It provides you the freedom to do other things, not become another 9 to 5. So once you learn to take money from the market, you could take money from the market and then do whatever else you need to do. So if you want to come trade live with us, we trade 9:30 to 11 o'clock every day when the market's open. You could find a link in the description. Apart from that, guys, have a wonderful rest of your Sunday and trade safely. Do not chase. Do not fall to FOMO. Wait for your setups. Be patient. Have the right mindset. Make sure that your risk management is up to par, and then trade safely, guys. I'll see y'all tomorrow.